Your spirit guides are infinitely intelligent and they can support us in a lot of ways that we probably don't often consider. And typically, I see people reaching for their guides. You might ask them to give you a sign to let you know that they're around, and you'll see like a feather or some other sort of symbolic um, gesture that's meaningful for you as confirmation that yes, they're around. And I usually see people kind of communicate with their guides that way. Or the other way is you kind of reach for them, like for protection or for help when we feel kind of stuck in the physical world and we don't feel like we have enough support around us. That's when, people typically reach for the spirit world. And there's nothing wrong with doing any of these things. Like I think that's really great that you reach for them. That's fantastic. Keep doing that. But have you ever felt that there has to be more to this type of connection than what you're familiar with right now? So maybe, have you ever wondered if they can actually help you with life challenges that you're having in the physical world? Let me know in comments, like kind of where you're at with that. Because I definitely considered that and I contemplated that a lot. And my relationship with the spirit world has evolved phenomenally off the basis of considering that alone. And one of the ways that they can help you is with manifestation. And that's what I'm going to be talking about with you today. So, this is so cool. Like, I love this sort of stuff. And if you're meeting me for the first time today, my name is Sharon Atkinson, and I am a metaphysical transformation coach and a master intuitive alchemist or healer. You can call me healer if you want to. But I work with people and help them transform their inner landscape so that they can turn things around and manifest, or what I like to call commandifest, um, their reality on their terms. And I'm a former business banker, so I have a very analytical mind. I'm very curious, and I approach metaphysical concepts and the spiritual realm from that perspective. I'm quite analytical like that. So, one of my favorite things to do is to play with consciousness and quantum physics, and I get some guidance and I find some new ways to manifest things into existence. Like, this is fun for me. And this is like a huge part of my daily life, like experimenting and playing with this stuff. And this is like a lifelong um, pattern, I suppose, or like habit or hobby. I don't know, just my way of thinking that I've had for a very long time. So I first noticed that I was manifesting 30 years ago when I was 17. And I have been intentionally doing it since then. And like before I knew that these types of happy accidents had a name, I've been kind of manifesting. My way of manifesting has evolved like quite significantly, and my guides are now um, part of how I go about doing that. And like one day, I remember ages ago, probably 6 or 7 years ago, I asked my guides if they wanted to watch a movie with me from the perspective of manifestation. And the movie I wanted to watch was called The Game. I don't know if you've seen this movie. It has Michael Douglas in it. It's called The Game. And it's not about manifestation, but I wanted to watch this movie from that perspective. So I asked my guides if they wanted to, play this game with me. And they were very quiet for the first part of the movie. And then about halfway through, it turned into this training session, or what I like to call training moments with them. And they brought my attention to Michael Douglas's character and about how he cannot distinguish between what's real and what's part of this game. And his biggest fears, even though he's trying to avoid them, are playing out for him. And we had a really good conversation about that. And so that was great. And then they turned their attention to me and as the observer of the movie and the effect that it was having on me. and my frequency and my vibration and how it changes your state. And I had all of these, yeah, but kind of questions going back at them, like, yeah, I know, but it's just a movie. And they were very quick to point out about the physiological changes going on within me, like your heart rate quickens when you think something bad's going to happen and all this other stuff, right? So, like, really, really insightful conversation about my own state just watching a movie. And I asked them for a remedy for that. Okay, well, that's what's going on. Like, I'm not shutting myself off from, the world that I live in to avoid that. What do I do? Like, give me a remedy for this. And they did. So, which is really important because I don't think we need to detach from things that are happening in physicality. I think we need to learn how to manage things like that in a more intelligent way. And that's something my guides help me with. And your guides can absolutely do this for you too, which is so cool. So, but that experience, watching a movie with them, that was a huge turning point for me in realizing like how valuable this relationship with my guides is and like what we can really do like together. Like if I want to know stuff and I have questions, which I have 1,000 of, thousands of questions, what about this? What about that? Then I can use their knowledge to manifest and change physicality and make my life easier. And this is something we all have the ability to do. We're just probably not familiar how to do it, right? So I have training moments with them. They mentor me. They were mentoring me the other day on it was a quantum science kind of theory about entanglement. So we're having some training on that at the moment. Very, very interesting stuff, like mind-blowing stuff. But for me, like the relationships with them, I see as a very valuable resource and a way to access universal knowledge, understand it so that I can apply creative solutions to my life. And anyone can have these types of relationships. They're not exclusive to me or anybody. Like they're available to everybody, which is what I really love. And if you love today's episode and what I'm going to be filling you in on today, and you want to learn how to do this sort of stuff to enhance your manifestation
Power
practice.
off.
Ooh, okay. Then I would, it's just my speaker, don't worry about her. Yeah, like if you really love this episode and you want to learn how to do this for yourself so you can lean on your guides to help you with manifestation or anything else you want specific in a specific area, then come and join me inside the Metaphysical Edge live stream in July and sign up. The link's in the description for that. And also during this episode, keep an eye out for the Unmasked Quest keyword. And what this is going to do, this is going to give you 50% off the regular price of the Master Mentorship for Metaphysical Edge live stream. And all you do is you email me this quest keyword and the Unmasked Quest keyword. Email that to me. I'll put all the details in the description as well. Send that to me. I'll email you back the code that you can use so that you can do that and be part of the action. And do that before the 8th of July. So, okay, keep your eyes peeled for that and good luck. Welcome to Unmasking the Magic, where the mystical meets the practical and fuels your success. I'm your host, Sharon Atkinson, and I'll be your metaphysical maverick on this journey, where every week we'll pull back the curtain to reveal how concepts such as intuition, manifestation, and the quantum field, and pretty much everything else otherworldly, can help empower you to reach new levels of success, meaning and fulfillment in business, career, and life. Get ready to be inspired, enlightened, and empowered, and let's unmask the magic together. So, what makes your guides one of the best mentors that you can have? And we're going to get a little bit nerdy. So, You are more energetic than you are physical. And as you're watching this, right, you can only perceive less than 1% of what's around you because you're only seeing your physical surroundings through the spectrum of light. So the other 99% of what's in the room with you right now is largely unknown to you. So let me know in the comments if you've ever kind of sensed that there's more than what you can see around you in the room. You know, more than physicality, beyond physicality, if you can kind of get a feel for that. So within this quantum field of energy that is all around us, you are, think of yourself like a ball of intelligent light waves, and you're oscillating or vibrating in a particular frequency, and your guides are a series of light waves too, and they are vibrating at a different frequency, but they're not expressed into physicality like you are. So your their programming is a little bit different to yours. So you can think of it like you are two different apps on a mobile phone, and both apps, but you're doing very, very different things, you know. So it's kind of a little bit like that in this larger electromagnetic field around you. You're different apps to everybody else, and including your guides. So what's really cool though is like your guides, they're masters of this stuff. Like the electromagnetic world is their forte, like without a doubt. So they can observe you and they can observe how you're wired and how these light waves come together to form your reality. It's very intricate kind of expression of your reality. They can see all of the programming that goes on behind the scenes, and they can see traumas and things you've had in the past, your thoughts, your feelings that go along with a lot of things, and how they kind of compound together and filter through your entire field. So they can see all of that. They can see the layers of programming that make up who you are, and all of your unconscious beliefs, all the patterns, all of your reflexes, all of that stuff, they have insight into. And so your electromagnetic field is a little bit, it's like software really. And over time, like some of this software can become corrupt, it can get a little bit glitchy, starts to run a bit slow. There can be, you know, stuff going on in there that doesn't really need to be there anymore. And your guides are like these master technicians of this particular software, of your light waves, and they can rewire it for you, essentially. And so when you're mentored by them in manifestation, they can see like what's going on in your field, and they know how you're going to react to certain things. They know what your worldview is about certain things as well, the beliefs that make all of that up, even about manifestation. So, what you currently believe about manifestation and all of your um, stories and that you have that contribute to that, they have an oversight of that. They can see everything. They can see everything. So, when you receive training, it's very bespoke, you know, like it's tailor made to you. And I'll give you an example. So, like the training moments I have with my guides, they blow me away because it's kind of like I feel like they know the reactions I'm going to have. So sometimes I feel like, oh, they've set this up. Like I can see in hindsight, they've known how I'm going to react. They know the questions I'm likely to ask, and so they set up a scenario for me, and which is really cool because I end up learning a lot out of these types of experiences, and they can see all of this though because that's how I'm wired, which is so cool. So like one day I was doing a guided visualization and you know walking down this path in my imagination with my guide, and he was walking down this path and I'm thinking to myself like this visualization is quite boring because we've been walking down this path for a while and I don't think we're going anywhere. And so I asked my guide like, where are we going? And he said, well, you haven't decided yet. I'm like, well, yeah, but I'm doing this guided visualization and I don't know like what the next step is going to be. And then eventually, like the next step of the visualization, the guided visualization came in, and that was, now you're standing on a cliff face. And my guide said to me, see, now you made a decision. I'm like, okay. And so we had this training session about intention. And they love to teach about intention because if you think about it, like basically, like the gist of what came out of that training session was anything we're doing, unless we have an intention that contributes to like a bigger picture, um, we're not really going anywhere. We're just meandering along, wondering, what's going to happen next. When we haven't actually made that call, we haven't actually made the decision for ourselves. So nothing will. So, really good awareness to have, I think, when you're going through the motions, like going through your daily routine. What does this contribute to? Like, where are you going? What's the bigger picture that these steps you're taking today kind of roll up into? And I don't think we generally consider that because we're so distracted by the routine or being late for work or whatever it is, stuff going on, starts to rain, you got to bring in the washing, like, we have stuff going on. But what does it contribute to? Like, that was a really good reminder. So, but my guides teach me in a way that I'm able to understand and I can relate to because they know how I'm wired. And I always have tons of questions for them, like tons. And like I want clarification on everything. And I will ask them, yeah, but questions all the time. Like I see what you're saying, but. And like when it comes to talking to your guides, like if you have questions, ask them. I notice a lot of people kind of hold, like they're very reserved when it comes to their guides. They revere them. And I understand that. But at the same time, like they're not to be revered and put on a pedestal because they're from the spiritual realm. Ask questions. You can ask questions of them. They want you to ask questions so that they can guide you. If there's something you don't understand, like ask for clarification, and they will set this up for you. They will set up training for you specifically based on what they can see your questions are likely to be. So ask them and let them go that next step with you to give you some answers. I think asking your guides for a sign to let you know that you're there, like that's great, but big deal. Like, how is that helping you? Like, it might give you some peace of mind. Like, you've got them around you, but they're with you all the time. The minute you start thinking about them, they show up. Like, you don't need the physical confirmation that they're so fast. Like, they're on speed dial all the time. You don't, yeah. So that's all I'll say about that. But so your guides, when it comes to learning, and this is where this is really crucial, when it comes to learning a new concept, especially with manifestation, because there's so many different like trains of thought about this. And based on what you know and what works for you and which manifestation techniques you love, which ones you don't and why, etc., your guides will give you training. They will be very, very specific with you to give you some answers and put them in context for you. And if these are new things that you're learning, you'll have all of these examples in your life that you can draw on so that it makes sense, so that you don't need to, you can just hit the ground running. You don't need to try things out. It makes sense because they're making it so relevant to you. You just start progressing. And that's, how many times does that happen in our lives when we're learning something new? That's a huge challenge, I think, for a lot of people because things don't make sense. And we hear things for the first time, but your guides have this inside scoop into how you're wired and what you need to know and what that gap is so that you can implement and embed this new teaching into your daily life. Like that's huge. Like boom, they're so smart. If you're familiar with manifestation, which I imagine that you are if you're watching this or listening to this on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, then you'll be familiar with the idea that your concept of self has to change in order to manifest what you want. And like this is true for some things, like, yeah, you have to change your concept of self to be able to kind of get there. Like if you were, say, for example, you decided that, you know what, this whole reality I've created for myself, I just not up for it. I'm done. I want to start a new one. Then your concept of self would have to change. Whereas if you want to achieve something quite small, relatively fast, then, it will show up a lot quicker. You don't need to change your concept of self to receive it. But the bigger stuff, like, yeah, like usually you need to have some sort of shift internally to change who you are so that you can receive it. So this is really cool. Like your guides can help with this. So they can help with your beliefs that roll up into this concept of who you are. And clearing limiting beliefs is the fastest way to transform your identity and how you see yourself in the world and how you see the world around you too. And like that sort of shift is really, really profound. And you allow for these new perspectives to kind of come through that shape your future so that what you want to manifest can be externalized in your life, which is really cool. So shifting your concept of self opens you up to experience some really, really cool stuff. So letting go of those limiting beliefs, the heavy like emotions, the negative thought forms you have, the patterns, reactions, all the old programming that you're kind of brought up with, throughout your formative years, kind of dumping that and taking up new perspectives on pretty much everything. Um, is a challenge, but it's something that your guides can help with. And I don't know that many people are aware of this, but they can definitely help you with this. They are master technicians, remember, and they can see into your electromagnetic field and they can rewire pretty much anything that you request, but you have to request it and you have to be specific. And so what they do is like, you put in this request, right? You want to upgrade your software in some way. You want to take out the old programming that says you're going to freak out when, you see bank account kind of depleting. You want to take out that programming and you just want to, you choose like how you would prefer it to show up in that scenario. They can take out that old programming and help embed a new set of light waves that are in support of how you want to be. It's all based on what you kind of decide and what you want. They don't make those decisions for you. You need to be very specific. So you need to have very good self-awareness and be honest with yourself. Like being honest with yourself and how you genuinely feel about things is what allows them to do their work when you kind of engage with them in that way. So, um, but they do this from like an aspect of your consciousness, I suppose. Like you work on a different aspect to what they do. And a lot of what they can see can be like compounded, like really, really tightly in your energy field somewhere, in your electromagnetic field somewhere. And it's almost like I mentioned before, like kind of damaged software and that sort of stuff. Like they can see all of like the occlusions within your field that might be causing some of these reactions and things, and they can be linked to past life experiences, that sort of stuff. So they do a lot of the aspect of you that they will work on is can be very, very deep. It can be like soul wounding, past life history, going back to like your very, very first incarnation. They can pull it out so fast. So, because this is their forte, they live and breathe the electromagnetic field. They're masters at this. We don't know what we're doing. We haven't been trained to do this. We can't see the light waves for a start. And all go back like to our very first incarnation. We have no clue how to do that, which is cool because they do. We just need to ask the right questions to get them to do like the right type of work for us for what we want to see changed. So let me give you an example, right? So if you've ever been concerned about your finances and you've tried to manifest more money, right? I know some people, like me included, like I've been concerned about finances and I've tried to manifest more money before. And, or even when you might receive like an unexpected bill and you freak out because you haven't budgeted for it, you think, where am I going to get this extra money from? And you kind of, you notice, or hopefully you notice, that in those moments you kind of drop into a lack mentality. And that's a challenge, like to shift from that, because you can see your bank balance, you can see like the reality of the situation, and it's hard to detach from it to see things from a higher perspective, to maintain a higher vibration, um, and feel like it's no big deal because more money's going to come in. That is a challenge and a half, because the reality of the situation is very, very different to how you want to feel about it. So, in situations like these, right, your guides can come in and they can diffuse the intensity of lack. They're not going to make you like magically forget that there's a bill there and that sort of stuff. Like, no, they will take out the intensity of the lack in the situation so that you can do what you need to do to manifest a different outcome. Because while you're stuck in that mentality of lack, you cannot manifest anything else. You will manifest lack, and you don't want to do that. So your guides can come in, they can rewire some things in your field and take out the intensity so that it's easier for you to manifest. You still need to visualize, you still need to know what you want, you still need to know all that other stuff. That will just make it easier for you to do that, regardless of what is going on around you, which is really cool. And it's such a powerful way to get support in the moment and to collaborate that way. And you might have some ideas about what you think is the problem, and you can always ask them, like, is this what I need to change um, to get a different outcome here? Are there multiple things that I need to change here to get me over this hurdle so that I can manifest more money, so that I can drop this feeling of lack and fear and panic and that freaking out? If I can let that go, like, is there anything else I need to clear as well? How else do I need to see this? They can help you with all of that. So it's a very powerful collaborative relationship that you can have. So, how can you be mentored by your spirit guides? That is a fantastic question. And the really short answer is that you have to ask. That's all there is to it. You need to ask the question. And you have way more than one or two spirit guides around you, way, way more. And I thought that this was the case. Like growing up, like as a teenager, I thought, oh yeah, we've got like one or two guides around us. Okay, cool. No, you have hundreds of guides, light beings around you to support you. And they know who you are. And you've had relationships with them for lifetimes in different ways. And you've had probably the same spirit guides mentoring you for your evolution over for eons. Some of them might even go right back to when your first incarnation. Phenomenal amount of history between you and them, and they already know who you are, which is amazing. Your old buddies getting together, and they all have different roles, and they're here to help you live your best life, no matter what. No matter what. That's why they're here. So you absolutely have, within this vast community of light beings, you absolutely have guides there to help you manifest. And the reason I say this is because when you haven't been in like a physical incarnation and you've been off in the spirit realm doing something else, you're off in the spirit world or off in the quantum field creating. You're a creator at heart, you know? How cool is that? You might be creating stars, like who knows? Create whatever you want, but you know how to do it. Parts of you instinctively know how to do it. And you've probably had examples too, like before you even knew what manifestation was. You can look back in hindsight and go, oh, I manifested all this stuff and I didn't even know I was doing it. It's because it is so deeply ingrained in your soul and who you are. You already know how to do it. You just haven't connected all the dots yet. But your team can help you do that. Absolutely. So I'm going to go through step by step about how you can set up this relationship for yourself so you can get, really, really good outcomes manifesting. So the first thing you do is that you meet the right guide, because they all have different jobs. They all have different roles to play. So you need to meet the right one or ones or however many you want, or team. Doesn't really matter. But if you haven't met a guide before, then I recommend that you start with one. And you just ask, like, can you mentor me on this? Can you mentor me on manifestation? And then you build a relationship with them. You spend time with them. You hang out and you get really familiar with what their energy feels like. You get familiar with what it's like to be around them. And because they all kind of feel different. And this really helps you to connect with them and communicate at a much deeper level. Like the more familiar you are with them, the communication becomes a lot stronger as well. So spend time with them. That's really key. And give them some parameters if you want to about how you want to be mentored by them. So you might decide that you only want to be mentored in meditation when you allocate like that half an hour or like an hour where you're going to sit down, you're going to, collect your thoughts and you're going to go into a state of meditation, and then you want that to be your time to be trained and mentored by them. My approach is a little bit different. I'm open to anything, anywhere, anytime. So if there's something I need to know, I want to know in the moment so that I can keep going. Like I want answers, give me. If there's something that they can put across my path to make it really obvious that you need to know this right now, I'm open to that. And if there's like telepathic communication with them too, is another way. Like, just give me the download, I want to know. And they bring my awareness to things too. So, which is really good. Like, they will help me refocus and shift my attention to something that I need to. It might be something I need to clear, something that is a limiting belief, could be anything, something I need to change. Like, I have that type of communication with them too. And this happens all day, every day. And you might notice as well, I just want to tell you that I do a lot of laugh talking, and the laugh talking is because I have a high vibrational state. I have a strong foundation of light, and my dominant state that I am in is joy. And sometimes I have like this rush of energy. It's like a rush of the emotion of joy coming through, and it comes through as laughter. I find a lot of things amusing, and it just comes through as laugh talking sometimes. I'm a laugh talker. So that's what that's about, if in case you're wondering. And so yeah, get used to the way that they want to communicate with you, and is another thing that you need to kind of develop and evolve over time. This might be different for different guides as well, but it probably won't be. But you have intuitive abilities that will help you do this and help you communicate with your spirit guides. So if you don't think you're intuitive, you absolutely are, and you have 7 intuitive abilities. Oh, it's probably 8 actually. You have 8 intuitive abilities to help you communicate with them. And I actually did a podcast episode on this about 7 psychic senses that you already have that you're not aware of. So I'm going to put the link to that particular episode in the description for you too, so you can go and listen to that. Because once you're aware of these abilities that you already have, you will start using them. You just have this awareness, a different awareness about things, like your gut instincts. That is a psychic ability. Yeah. So, but anyway, I'll put the link to that particular episode in the description so you can go and have a look at that. And for your psychic senses, right? They're senses that help you communicate with the electromagnetic field around you. They help you interpret that information of what's in that 99% of the electromagnetic field that you cannot perceive with your physical senses. So you have one set of physical senses to help you navigate the physical world. And these senses are amazing, sight, touch, taste. Oh, fantastic. Love them. Then you also have another set of senses to help you navigate the energetic world, which makes complete sense to me, right? Because why would you show up in this world where you can only see less than 1% of what's around you and only have senses for that? Like, you haven't been shortchanged. You have everything you need to interact with this broader field around you, at an energetic level. And you're receiving this sort of information already. You're just not consciously aware that you're doing it. So go watch the episode. But your guides will start communicating with you using those senses, all of them, in different ways. Okay, so once you've done all of that, then just ask them questions. Ask your guides questions, and they're not to be revered, and put on a pedestal. Like, please don't do that. Don't think of a question and then talk yourself out of asking it, because they can see, like in your electromagnetic field, that you really want to ask this question, but they will not give you an answer while you're sitting on the fence because you're undecided that that's what you really want. They will not give you an answer because of free will and all this other stuff that goes on. Ask the question. You cannot get in trouble from your guides. You can get angry with them. They're going to love you anyway. It does not matter what you ask them. But, I obviously recommend being respectful. But you can ask them, how come? I ask my guides, yeah, but questions all the time. Yeah, but, I'm doing this and la, la, la. How come this happens? Why am I seeing this? What does this mean? I don't get it. I ask my guides those questions all the time because I want to understand. And so don't be afraid to ask those types of questions. It doesn't need to be formal. Just be yourself because they know you anyway. You don't need to pretend to be someone that you're not. Just show up. And the really cool thing about your guides too, you'll really love this. The moment you start thinking about them, they show up. Before you ask a question, they show up. How cool is that? It's like they're on speed dial. So yeah, okay. And then give them instructions, give your guides instructions for what you require them to do. And you're allowed to do this, and you're doing it already. Like, if you have ever asked your guide to give you a sign that they are around you, you are giving them an instruction. Give them instructions for more stuff. And you can ask them, please give me the exact steps I need to take to achieve this particular outcome. Please give me the next steps I need to take to generate another $10,000 this month. Give it to me. Give me a sign you're here. Give me the exact steps I need to take. Give me the exact opportunity. Line this up for me. Make it blatantly obvious, but give them instructions. Whatever sort of support you want, give your guides the instruction. And be specific. Don't see what happens, all that sort of, vague intentionality. Put that aside, be very specific, and give them an instruction. You're not going to get into trouble. And you won't. I promise you. You won't get into trouble. Okay, they're not like teachers at school. You can have some old programming that if you ask a question, you might get into trouble, that sort of stuff. No, it's not going to happen. So if you're going to try this, like if you already have a relationship like with a spirit guide and you want to try this out, then let me know what happens. I would love to know how this goes for you. So I want to tell you about one of my guides actually. So that I built this type of relationship with, he does not sugarcoat anything for me, nothing. And I have different training moments with him, and pretty much whatever we do, he will tie back to manifestation because it is such a big part of my life. And so there's this one day he was teaching me how to create portals, and like, this is so cool. I'm all excited. How good's this? I can create portals now, like to travel multidimensionally. This is awesome. And so he's accompanying me, of course, haven't done this before, come with me, sort of thing. And I'm like, cool, let's see what happens. We stepped through this portal, and then we arrived in this impoverished reality. And there was a lot of illness, there was a lot of like people lying in the street, a lot of death. It was very confronting. And I said to my guide, I'm looking at him so confused, and I'm like, why am I seeing this? Like, serious? You taught me how to create a portal, and now I just feel ripped off because I'm getting, like, this crappy experience. Like, what's this about? And you know what he said to me? Oh, it just makes me laugh. He said, well, you wanted to see what would happen. And I'm a pardon? My intention of stepping through this portal was to see what would happen. And when you have the intention of seeing what happens, that is like a wild card. And that basically means like you are open to anything. You want to see what can happen? Okay, well, what can happen can be great, can be really, really bad, can be anywhere in between. You're open to any and all of it by wanting to see what can happen. And it can be like the closest experience available to you to experience in that particular moment. That's what's going to happen. So, huge lesson from him about intention and about the not danger. It's like, it's not a danger, it's just a wild card. Seeing what happens is so just, it leaves you open to all these random events that you may or may not enjoy. I'm not up for that. I don't want to see what happens. I want to be very specific with my intentions. So I've had to change my language around a little bit because I'm very curious and I like to go and like try stuff on for myself to see if things work. And I used to say to see what would happen. I'm going to try this and see what happens. No, now I want to try stuff out and see how it can work for me. See how that's a slightly different intention? They kind of mean the same thing, but the intention is very, very different. And energetically, um, we're very literal. Like, your subconscious mind takes everything literally. Energetically, things happen very literally as well. So be mindful of that. But it would be like if you have your own business, for example, and you want to try out a new social media strategy for posting. You go, okay, I'm going to give this a go and I'm going to see what happens. Could go either way. It's this wild card event that you're creating. Could be good, could not be good. And then the other thing too, so instead of saying like you want to see what happens, if that's the case, be really specific. You're going to try out this social media strategy and see how it brings you more clients. It's much more specific intention than seeing what happens or how you can how it works for you, how beneficial it is for you. Like, be very intentional with anything that you want to try out for yourself. That was my big lesson as a result of that. But that's the sort of relationship that can evolve um, once you set up a relationship with a guide. And they're so powerful because your guides know ahead of time, like, how you're going to react. And I have no doubt that my guide knew that I would be really excited and my reaction would be like, let's see what happens. Woohoo! And he'll be able to like share that with me about intention and about how it's a really like it seems like such an innocent thing to say on the surface, and we don't really know what we're doing half the time. When we say things, we say them out of habit rather than from a place of deeper knowledge and wisdom. But having access to that universal wisdom that comes through can have like a profound change, and such a little tweak in how, in just that alone, like can have phenomenal like snowballing effect in your life. It can keep momentum going. It can help you get results a lot faster. It's just huge, like, and some situations probably doesn't matter. Like if you're trying a new recipe for dinner, like big deal if it doesn't really work out. You can probably tweak it a little bit and make it more enjoyable or bearable, depending on how that recipe turned out. But yeah, seeing what happens, like generally way, 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 way too bad. Too vague, sorry, too vague, too vague. But your guides will notice that when it comes to manifestation, um, how they can mentor you in a very, very bespoke way. And for me, like approaching manifestation from this perspective is so much more effective than trying out new manifestation techniques. Finding someone on YouTube or anywhere else that has a new manifestation technique or something, a concept I'm not familiar with. Like, to be honest, it's very rare that any of that actually works for me anyway. But getting information like that from my guides, I can implement it straight away and it works. Like things start changing immediately. Like I mentioned before, I've been playing with, or I had some training on the weekend about quantum field theory and entanglement. And so I played with that like on the weekend when it came to like a challenging relationship that I have. I played with that on the weekend and oh, like things shifted instantaneously, which is so cool. I'm like, wow, like this just opens up a new whole kind of level for me to kind of play in. Really exciting, by the way. But being handed a strategy, an idea, or an approach that you can take instead of trying to find a solution like using your logic or anything else is so much more profound and reality changing than anything else. Anything else. I hope you've really enjoyed finding out all about how your guides can help you and mentor you on manifestation with me today. Like, this is such a fun topic for me, probably because it's such a massive part of my daily life. So I hope you've really enjoyed this as well. So far, I've taken you through why your guides are really great mentors for you, because they know you and they can see parts of you and how you're wired. They can help you change your concept of yourself, your self concept, your beliefs, your patterns, your old programming, so that you can manifest faster results. And what you can do to set up this type of relationship for yourself with your guides. So, when you decide that you want to access this level of support and mentorship from them, the masters of your consciousness, and how you're wired, like a few things happen for you. So, firstly, you feel more empowered to create your reality on your terms because you've got this team that you can bounce ideas off and you can find workarounds for pretty much anything. Secondly, you stop reacting to delays and frustrations because you know that those reactions is just old programming. They're old concepts of who you used to be that you can have rewired. You've got this team you can access or use, and they can change it within minutes. You feel more confident in your ability to manifest because you have a layer of support and this infinite wisdom of creation that you can access anytime you need it. Anytime you get stuck, you can lean on them. You can access whatever it is that you need. So if you have ever struggled with trying to manifest consistently, if you've tried to change a concept of who you are, you've done a lot of energy work, you've done a lot of clearing, and you've struggled to see a shift, things will not shift no matter what you do, no matter how much inner work you do. And you're tired of trying different manifestation techniques and finding that they do not work for you, then I recommend you join me inside the Metaphysical Edge live stream training in July. And over 2 sessions, I'm going to guide you through so that you can meet a guide who specializes in reality creation, and you can learn how to have your old programming rewired and how you can receive guidance from them when you need it. So there's all the stuff that you're going to learn inside Metaphysical Edge. And like, I am committed 100% to helping as many people as I can elevate their manifestation practice and command their reality, because everybody deserves to live life the way that they want to and create a life that they love without feeling like they have to compromise anything, that they have to compromise their values or their standards or anything in their life. And if you're worried that like this can't work for you because you're not a spiritual person, or you don't think that you have like the abilities or the gifts, the psychic abilities, you haven't connected with your guides before, all that sort of stuff. If you're worried that you can't do this because of any of that, I've got you. You know, if me as an old nerdy banker, business banker, if I can do this work, you can absolutely 100% do this as well. Like, this is not a special ability, it is a birthright. You just need a few different pieces to connect together so that you can have it working for you too. And I'm going to guide you every step of the way. And you'll get a workbook and you get recordings of all of these sessions too, so that you can master these techniques, so that you know how to help yourself to get answers for your life, for the rest of your life, you know? So the link to join me inside the Metaphysical Edge live stream is in the description box. And don't forget to email me as well, the unmasked keyword that you spotted in this episode before the 8th of July 2024 to pick up a 50% discount on the Metaphysical Edge live stream master mentorship. So head over to bit.ly/metaphysical edge, check out all the details and join me inside the live stream. I would love to see you there. It'd be so much fun. Thank you for joining me today, and I will see you next time. And I think, like, in the next episode, I actually want to share like some of the manifestation techniques and quantum physics theories and insights that I've had through my guides. I think that's going to be really interesting for a lot of you. And I did some training on this just a couple of days ago too. So yeah, I'll put that together. I'll leave you to it. I'll see you inside Metaphysical Edge, and I'll see you. Ciao. Thank you for joining me on Unmasking the Magic. Today's journey has been a glimpse into the power of blending the mystical with the material world. And there is so much more to dive into so that you can explore your own metaphysical gifts to create unparalleled success and fulfillment in your life. If you enjoyed today's episode, I would love to hear from you. And please share this with anyone you know who will benefit from adding a little magic to their own life. Keep unmasking your magic, and I'll see you next time.